The Electoral Code of Conduct at the Gallagher Estate here in Midrand, Johannesburg. We now cross to our contributing editor, Vuyo Mvoko, who's at Gallagher Estate in Midrand, where the signing will take place. Once again, a very good morning to you, Vuyo.
Well, thank you very much and welcome once again to Gallagher Estate. I'm now joined by the ANC's head of elections, Mr. Malusi Kigaba. Welcome, sir, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and the viewers at home.
For the ANC, the significance of the pledge you're about to sign?
You know, given where we come from, given the experiences, for example, around the 1994 elections in KZN, the municipal elections a few years later in 96, and the violence that was there were no-go areas. Those experiences actually should count as we continue to entrench democracy in our country. So the pledge that's being signed today to affirm free and fair elections, that for every party to confirm that they will do everything they can not to create any obstacles for other parties to destroy their posters and their material, disrupt their activities. Because this democracy was fought for and achieved through difficult struggles, and therefore we would want to see our people enjoying the democracy, participating in it, and ensuring that everybody is free to cast their vote and vote for the people they want.
There are many people who believe that this is probably going to be the most contested election, and opposition parties saying if we have to worry about anything that may go wrong, it may well be the ANC, because for the first time it will lose significant amounts of support.
Well, you know, that's just a gimmick. It really it doesn't bother us at all. I mean, that's what they would say, of course. Remember, the ANC has contested elections in areas, for example, in KZN, which were viewed as being no-go areas. We've contested. We know what it is to fight for an election. We do expect that as democracy gets entrenched, more and more people will form their own political parties, others will become independents, the elections will get more and more contested. That doesn't bother the African National Congress at all. We've got a machinery strewn all over this country. Once the ANC machinery gets into action, you can only watch it with admiration, because it becomes a massive force for electoral victory. So we don't have to use clandestine, nefarious, malicious means in order to win an election. We win elections fair and square. We win them in broad daylight. We don't steal anything. People vote for the ANC because they believe in the promise that the ANC presents to them.
We have a Vuane today. We've had several hundreds, in fact, of others over the past few years, and we are going to have a lot more in the run-up to the elections. What should be the role of political leaders like yourselves? What should be the role of your respective political parties as we go, as we enter this election campaign period on the back of the pledge that you will be signing today?
All political parties must express their firm commitment towards free and fair elections. We must appeal to all our people, wherever they are, whatever the grievances they may be having, to ensure that the electoral process takes place. The campaigning, the IEC is able to establish its voting stations during elections. That process of individual South Africans exercising their democratic vote to cast their votes for whomsoever they want must be respected, because, you know, South Africa has a lot to benefit from the overwhelming participation of the masses of our people in determining the future of our country by choosing the political parties that they want. I don't think any political leader, it would be grossly irresponsible for any political leader to encourage violence, both during the elections process as well as generally during service delivery protests. Because you must remember that the culture you are inculcating among those whom you encourage to exercise violence will come back to bite you when it's your turn. Should you have a turn to lead and they have grievances against you, they will do exactly the same thing. So says the Bible, he who kills by the sword will die by the sword.
Mr. Malusi Kigaba, thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Well, we are, of course, also waiting. I mean, the waiting continues here as we await the arrival of political party leaders who will be signing that all-important document. Most of them are already here. President Jacob Zuma is also here, but in his capacity as the head of state. But most of the leaders are already here. I did speak a short while ago to the leader of the official opposition, the Democratic Alliance, Mr. Mmusi Maimane, and here's how that particular conversation went. Mr. Maimane, the significance of signing this pledge for as far as you are concerned as the leader of the Democratic Alliance?
Look, I think these elections are absolutely crucial. These are very significant elections for South Africa. They require that we uphold constitutionalism, something that has been under assault of late. And therefore, in upholding the Constitution and making sure that South Africans know we commit ourselves as a political party to making sure we uphold the constitutionality. We also want to ask the IEC to do likewise. These elections are crucial. We need them to be free and fair to ensure that the results reflect the will of the people. And we'll definitely be inviting all communities to make sure that we observe these elections so that what happened in Tlokwe does not get repeated anywhere else.
Is there anything that has happened recently over the past few days, past few weeks, maybe months that is cause for concern?
Look, I mean, I think the Tlokwe judgment has key concern, particularly going into a national election. The question about addresses is a vital one. But more importantly, it's also saying to political parties, as the Public Protector report came out recently to say this practice of vote buying cannot be accepted. That the idea that other political parties want to go out and distribute food parcels and do all of those exercises, those things are what undermines the will of the people. And we've got to make sure that as much as we commit ourselves, our challenge is to all the other parties to act in a consistent manner.
As the campaigns pick up momentum, what do you think should be the role of political leaders in particular in ensuring that there is an atmosphere conducive to a free and fair election, notwithstanding what should be a very vigorous campaign period?
Look, I think we've all got a responsibility to make sure that we monitor, we watch what happens, that we don't incite violence. I think when I hear other political leaders call for burning of party offices, and I think that doesn't help our democracy. We've come from there. It's a dangerous trend, and it speaks to extremism and ultimately damaging of the very fabric. The most powerful weapon is in fact the pen, to make sure that we take government through the pen, not through any other way. So I think that's going to be absolutely important. And as political leaders, we've got to ensure that we conduct ourselves in a manner that is appropriate. We're not buying and rigging votes as other parties do, and that we mobilize communities around the idea that they must come out and cast their ballots.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks very much. Well, the leader of the Democratic Alliance speaking to us a short while ago. Well, in a short while, proceedings here are going to get underway, where the various political parties represented in the National Assembly will be signing that all-important pledge, committing themselves to a free and fair poll. We will be bringing you that. But for now, though, I am going to hand back to you in the studio. But before we do that, the president is actually on his way here, as you can see.